What's up everybody, Justin here from CBI and Prinsu. Today we're going to show you how to install a Prinsu roof rack on the first generation Toyota Sequoia. This is a completely non-drill roof rack, uses all factory hardware to mount it up. It's all aluminum, so very lightweight construction. Let's dive in. All right, so our first step is we're gonna get everything unpacked and kind of laid out. So I'm just gonna quickly identify the parts you should have, starting furthest away from me, kind of work towards me. So we have our wind deflector and our noise reducing trim. We have 11 crossbars, one of which is gonna be silver, and that's gonna attach to the back of the wind deflector. We got our side rails, our longer ones, and then we have our shorter side rails. And in here is our hardware. We're gonna have these rubber pads that are gonna attach to the bottom of the mounting feet. Make sure you got those. We have our Loctite hardware. We have our wind deflector hardware. There's gonna be T-nuts, washers, and Phillips head bolts in there. This hardware bag is gonna contain our T30 bolts that are gonna install the side rails to the crossbars, and there's washers in there as well. And we're gonna have these silver washers also that will be used with the factory hardware. So once you get everything, we're gonna start prepping our hardware. We're gonna put Loctite and washers on all the bolts, and then we'll start assembling the side rails. Okay, so now we're gonna join the front and back side rail together. So we're just gonna use this little splice plate here and 4 of our T30 Torx bolts. Just make sure you have this silver side facing in. These are not side specific, so either splice plate's gonna work. So just get them lined up and we'll start all the bolts and then tighten them down. Okay, so we have our side rail tightened down and installed on both sides. So now we're gonna get the crossbars assembled to the side rails. Just make sure you do this with the drop-in points facing up and install them in the smaller slots. You also don't wanna cover up a mounting foot with a crossbar, and we're only gonna assemble a few of them because this rack is so large. We don't want it too heavy when we install it on the vehicle. So we'll use our T30 Torx bolts and we'll get these installed. I'm using an impact, but it's turned down to its lowest setting, so be careful that you don't over tighten or cross thread the bolts. All right, so our next step is we're gonna install our little rubber stickies on the bottom of the mounting feet. So these, there's 2 different kinds. Obviously the one with 1 cutout is gonna go over the mounting foot with 1 cutout. The one with 2 cutouts is gonna go over the mounting feet with 2 cutouts. Pro tip, this would have been easier before the crossbars got in, but this is the first time we put these on, so apologize there. So we're just gonna reach around and stick them underneath, but if you haven't put the crossbars on, do it before. Okay, now we're at the vehicle. We're gonna take off the factory roof rack. So we need to remove these plastic trim pieces that are at 3 locations along each side of the vehicle. You can use a plastic pry tool, a screwdriver, or sometimes even just good old what God gave you here, bare hands. So take and just kind of peel towards you and away, and those come right off. So we're just gonna do that, like I said, on 3 locations on each side of the vehicle. Okay, so we got our plastic pieces off. Now we're gonna remove the bolts to get the factory rack removed. So we have 2 up front on both sides. We have 2 in the sides of the middle and then 1 underneath and then 2 in the back. So we'll go ahead and get those removed and then we'll be able to get the rack off the vehicle. Okay, so the next step is we're gonna remove the remaining T30 bolt on each side and remove this plastic piece. Okay, so next couple steps we got going on is we're gonna clean this surface really well so that the roof rack sits nicely on the roof. Also, we have some unused holes in every location that we need to seal up. So you'll have some sealing tape in your kit. Mine's gonna look a little different than yours, but it's basically the same stuff. So the unused hole will not be threaded. So make sure you seal the right hole. And also, we'll use black RTV silicone on the threaded holes, and then we're ready for the roof rack. Okay, so you can see we have the rack into place. Now the next step is we're gonna take our factory bolts that we previously removed, slide on the washers included in your kit, and we're gonna get all the bolts started. It's pretty important when you set down your roof rack onto the roof that you get it lined up and then set it straight down so that you're not sliding around and basically erasing all the silicone that you previously put on. So once you get it set into place, we'll get these all started, check our alignment, and then tighten it down. Okay, now we're gonna assemble our wind deflector down here on the ground. So we need to get our T-nuts, slide them into the slots, and just make sure you have the threaded part facing downward. And then we're gonna place the wind deflector up here and start all the bolts by hand, and then we'll come back with a Phillips head screwdriver, tighten them all down, then we'll install our noise reducing trim. Okay, so our last step is we're gonna install our remaining crossbars. We'll be good to go. All right, guys, thanks for following along with today's install tutorial of the first generation Toyota Sequoia Prinsu rack. This thing's ready to go. Don't forget to like and subscribe to see more videos like this. Thanks for watching.